Thanks for being here this morning. Is my mic working? No, I'm going to hold on to this. I mentioned that Walmart is #1 on the Fortune 500 list with $466 billion in sales last year. I'm going to recite a few other impressive numbers. Those sales took place over more than 10,000 stores around the world. Walmart supports more than 240 million customer transactions a week. And Karenann's organization supports more than 500,000 network devices, more than 38,000 servers, and Walmart is building the world's largest private cloud. Is that correct? Now there's another number I want to share. It's slightly less impressive. It's $10 billion, which is the number that Walmart is projecting for e-commerce sales in fiscal 2014.
So you introduced me with slightly less impressive?
Well, what I was going to say is that it is your job to make Walmart #1 in the category of e-commerce. So Neil Ashe, you joined in 2012. Tell us about what you are doing to make Walmart as impressive in e-commerce as it is in bricks and mortar.
Well, thanks, Stephanie, and thanks for having us, and thanks for getting up early to listen to us talk. We talk about Walmart as the world's largest retailer, but we also are and want to be known as one of the world's largest, fastest growing, and most dynamic e-commerce organizations. And so as we thought about how to build e-commerce at Walmart, Walmart is a story, e-commerce at Walmart is a story that's been repeated across many different companies. It was started as a separate entity. It was rolled into part of the broader organization. And then about 2 years ago, we created Global E-commerce. And the mission of Global E-commerce is to build best-in-class e-commerce. And only we can then marry that with the assets of the world's largest retailer. And so we're building a very much of the internet dynamic technology organization in San Bruno, and to build this best-in-class e-commerce organization. And as we talk about how to scale that and we think about what that means, it means we want to build that customer experience that uniquely ties together mobile, online, and the stores in a way that no one else can do, because we can build this technology, but only we can marry it with the assets of the world's largest retailer. And when you do that, you can create a truly new vision for commerce. Oftentimes, e-commerce is thought of as the new vision of commerce because it's the latest vision of commerce. But our view is that the new vision of commerce is that you as a consumer should be able to shop wherever, whenever, however you want. And so we're working to bring all of that together and leverage what is uniquely Walmart to provide that solution.
And I want to get to some specifics about that, because that's kind of the holy grail, right? A lot of people talk about providing the customer with an opportunity to shop how he or she wants on whatever platform he or she wants, but it's harder to execute than it is to say. But Neil, let's go back. You started out by saying that at one point, e-commerce was a completely separate division in Walmart. You now report to CEO Mike Duke. What changed in the corporation's thinking, and how is having a seat at the CEO's table, how is that changing the way Walmart thinks about e-commerce?
Well, I think I've had a lot of experience in my career, both at an internet-native company and then as part of a traditional company that's embracing the internet. And I've seen, and I think we've all seen the story play out both ways, which is first you would say, hey, let's try and do this entirely separately, wall it off, make it go as fast as you can. And then on the other hand, you say, hey, you know what, we just need to build a web presence for our existing business. And the truth is that neither are the right answer. And so as Walmart went through that process, and then as I joined 2 years ago, we created e-commerce as a peer to the operating segments of the business. So Walmart US, Sam's Club, International, and now e-commerce. And we all report to the CEO, and we operate the businesses as they face the consumer, because you want to build that best-in-class e-commerce. You want to build that new thing. You want to build the technology that's necessary to do that. But at the same time, you don't want to give away your advantage. It would be foolish of us to run away from the 10,000 stores that you mentioned, or the 240 million customers that we see on a weekly basis. or the private truck fleet that drives over 1.1 billion miles a year. Those are all assets of the engine that we need to bring to bear to deliver to customers what no one else can do. So that's why to do that, you've got to make the new thing appear to the existing things so that we can all work together to deliver what no one else can deliver.
Karenann, Walmart has long had a reputation for being really badass when it comes to information technology.
Awesome.
How do you...
I often refer to her as badass.
And that's a compliment coming from Neil. Can you talk a little bit about how you're leveraging your prowess in information technology to support Neil's vision for e-commerce?
So I think that the one thing that Walmart has always had nailed from the beginning was scale. If you think of, you know, the billions of transactions that we actually process, and concurrently 5,000 at peak per second. Underlying that gives us underlying all of that gives us the ability to actually give economies of scale into e-commerce. So I think just the pure scale is helpful as we're building up a business in e-commerce. But the second thing that I think, and we talk about it all the time, is the e-commerce business talent and capability are what we are not in Bentonville, and we are, in terms of capability, what they are not in San Bruno. The combination of those two, you know, really, really dead nuts engineering, lots of capability across a wide spectrum of enterprise capability, and this huge forward-facing customer knowledge capability in San Bruno, that's a brilliant combination for us. So I think
you're not trying to poach his guys, and he's not trying to poach your guys.
No, when we poach, it's on purpose. So when we send a couple of data scientists from Bentonville into San Bruno, it's because we're doing a joint initiative across knowing our customer better. So it isn't a back and forth. There's always competition. That's really healthy. But the net of the whole thing is if we compete against each other, we forget who Walmart's really competing against. Since Neil got there, we've got that right. We figured that out.
We talk a lot about in e-commerce that it's our job to make the wheel spin faster, not to reinvent the wheel. So, so as Karenann mentioned, they do things that we don't want to have to learn how to do. They run some of the largest mainframe iron in the world.
The largest.
Excuse me, the largest mainframe iron in the world. And those little pipsqueaks at 10 billion just hang out in San Bruno. But our job is to try and make that wheel spin faster. And then we can do something that's really special.
I want to come back to this whole concept of big data, because there's big data and then there's like Walmart big data. But before we do, let's give us an example of how your organization and your organization have worked together to create something that is customer facing, and then walk us through the stuff that the customer doesn't see that probably largely happens in Bentonville.
So let's start about one. I think everybody knows Black Friday is a huge event in retail. And in order for our stores to actually innovate on the offerings that they're going to have, they have to rely on technology in order to get better and better. So this past year, Walmart introduced the 1 hour guarantee. So that was 3 very, very high desired items in electronics that were going to be offered. And instead of sprinkling 3 or 4 of them out into every store, we said, if you're in the store at the time that the 1 hour starts, you're going to get the product.
Can I pause you there for just a second? So there are 4,000 Walmart stores in the US, and you know Black Friday as one of the biggest events ever. So millions of people go through those 4,000 stores. It is truly a phenomenon. If you've not ever done it, you should go experience that. And the biggest customer frustration is, I got there, I stood in line for 3 hours, and I couldn't get this 32-inch television that I wanted. Yeah. Sorry, Karenann.
So if you look at that, in order to guarantee that a customer is going to get that item, you have to turn to technology. So we have to be able to predict first how many are going to be in the store and what the demand is. That's actually the easy part. But in order to make sure that the peak demand that's going to come is going to be delivered, we have to be able to guarantee in the store through our point of sale that we've captured all of the demand. If they don't walk out the door with the television, then at that point we turn to .com and say, okay, now that I have a voucher, now that I know I'm going to get that piece, .com, take over.
So you really have to integrate everything to make that happen. So, so Stephanie wants to buy that 32-inch television. We have X hundred of those in the store that she happens to go in. They get sold out in the hour that she's there. So then we collect her information, and she becomes an e-commerce customer from that point forward. So then you're guaranteed of getting that item at that price. And then we'll either deliver it to that store for you to go pick it up if you want to, hide it as a gift, which a friend of mine had done. Said, I don't want you to send it to my home because I don't want my husband to know that's what he's getting for Christmas. So you can go back and pick it up at the store, or we'll box it up and have a traditional e-commerce transaction where you receive that at your home. So to do that, you've got to tie literally all parts of starting from the back, from the supply chain all the way to literally the register and the cashier at the register at 4,000 different Walmarts around the country.
Yeah, so that front end and the back end together, the complexity to make that happen couldn't happen in one place or the other. It happened as a real joint team.
Right. And when did the planning for something like that start? How long do you need to start thinking about, because there's also a marketing component there, there's a employee training component there. Talk about the other aspects of the complexity.
So I always say we can't do anything in less than 90 days. Mm-hmm. Because if it's going to go all the way from inventory and suppliers all the way to the front end, you need 90 days. I think we had 91.
90.1.
Yeah, so it was faster than humanly possible. I think that and the only way we do that is small, dense, talented teams that actually come together on a specific that we're going to do and basically just go knock it out.
Can I riff on that for a second? Because that is the holy grail point, which is how do you marry speed and innovation with scale, and how do we move this enterprise at the pace at which we want to move it? I forget what yesterday, Brian. What were the terms Brian used? Nimble and robust, right? How do you do nimble and robust? Well, there's not a whole lot more robust than 466 billion. So you think about kind of the scale of making that happen. And so we work a lot. So as Karenann mentioned, we are working in small teams. That is so that we can innovate quickly on both the e-commerce experience, but that working relationship translates back into Karenann's organization and ISD as well. So whether we're working on that project and she was being humble, we did that in under 90 days. So the planning for Black Friday starts. It's going on now for this year's Black Friday. But our decision to hit go on the 1-hour guarantee, I think, was more like a 30-day decision that we made happen in that time period. And that's because we're working in these small teams. So we're very much capitalizing on of the internet mentalities and how to do things and infusing them through the entire process.
We're going to go to questions from the audience in just a minute, but Neil, talk a little bit about how you will measure success in your division, particularly when the goal is to provide customers with an opportunity to buy any way they want. And they may do showrooming whereby they do comparison shopping on their mobile devices in Walmart, but ultimately decide to buy in the store rather than on your site, or where they may use your site to put a shopping list on, and then again they go into the store and they do all the purchases physically. You're enabling those purchases, but those aren't e-commerce dollars per se.
No, and success is when we don't care. So, an ultimate measure of success is when you decide that you want to buy something from Walmart. We don't care whether you buy it on your mobile device as you're walking down the sidewalk, on your tablet while you're sitting on your couch, your computer while you're sitting at your desk, or when you walk through the door of our store. We want to help you save money and live better. The purpose of Walmart is simple, and so we want to bring all of those resources to bear so that you can have that experience. And so, the direct answer to your question, Stephanie, is success is when we don't care. Obviously, that's a pretty high and mighty kind of expectation. The reality is we do have to count revenues. We do have to run a business. We do have to decide where to put resources. And so we align inside our company around a gross merchandise value kind of concept, so that the credit starts to be diffused, so that those who are responsible for making that happen each share in the success of that business. And so we've had a lot of success with that. So for example, we rolled out this year that store managers in the United States get credit for sales that are sold in their zip codes. What does that do? That creates 1.4 million salespeople for a holistic shopping experience. That's the kind of the power of making that happen. And so we spend all our efforts, Stephanie, trying to make these things come together so that people don't unnecessarily pull them apart, and try and solve them in a different way. So success is when we don't care.
As a customer doesn't know they're a mobile customer. They don't know, they just know they're a customer. They want something from Walmart. They want the most convenient experience, and they want it to be as seamless as possible. And talking about internal revenue is just a corporate element. When you focus on the customer, especially as technology enables it, you have to get way beyond that.
Neil, I've heard you say that you would like Walmart to be mentioned in the same breath as companies like Amazon, Apple, Facebook, Google. I get Amazon for obvious reasons, but what do you mean when you say that you want to be in that tier? How should we think about Walmart vis-a-vis those other names?
So I'm a dyed-in-the-wool of the internet guy. So and all that it represents, the access, the power of the individual, those sorts of things for the internet. And when you think about the purpose of Walmart, to help people save money and live better, it very much is always and always has been about providing access and value to people around the world as it relates to products. That's the essence of a true high-powered internet company. And I want Walmart to be thought of, and I think it's justifiably thought of, as one of the leading internet companies. And so as we think about what that means inspiring people with new customer experiences the way Apple does. That means inspiring people with access to information and access the way Google does. That means creating new and different customer experiences that no one else has thought of. That inspire the customer to change their expectations, to say, hey, I can get anything I want at a low price at a place where Walmart. There is somebody that can satisfy that need. And when we've done that, then we will continue the purpose of helping people save money and live better, and we will do it in an incredibly contemporary way.
Let's go to the audience for some questions. Right here in the front row, can we get a mic down here? If you could stand up and identify yourself, please.
Yeah, so Rick Chavey with Hybris. Neil and Karenann as well, I'd like to have you characterize your pace of progress and also sources of innovation when it comes to domestic versus international, and where you see that going forward, and which one is going to get there the fastest?
Wow. So I think, first of all, what's happening internationally, when you look at the infrastructure being built much more on the internet instead of in stores, we're going to see a lot of technology innovation from those markets. And the beauty is Neil actually owns all of the global e-commerce mobile properties that we have worldwide. All of that is going to start providing a lot of opportunities. We have to look at it just as a networked enterprise. Anything that one part of the organization learns, we all learn. So I think we're going to see a lot come in from international. Right now, there's been a lot more push because there's a lot more maturity and capability here.
Yeah, and I like to think, I call it, Rick, innovation at the edge. So if we can build this platform of technology and information sharing and a learning organization to capitalize on that, and then we can give the tools for creation outside of the hub. A great example is in Latin America. We have, I think, I guess sort of humbly think, one of the best consumer internet teams in Latin America running our e-commerce businesses. we want what they come up with to make its way to the rest of the world because they're really that good. So how do we create that innovation at the edge and make it part of this global technology platform that we're building?
Great. Question here, and then we'll go to Miguel. But first, the gentleman in the blazer.
Thanks very much. Hi, Neil. Brian Stengel with Waller Capital Partners. I'm really curious how you think about content or digital media as a component of your product mix within the e-commerce vertical.
Great question. So my roots, as you know, are in digital content, or may not know. I was with a company called CNET, and then with CBS before I came to Wal-Mart. And I think this is the ultimate point of convergence. So what's the difference between what I do now and what we did then? We own the finish line now. So the relationship with the customer, the development of that frequency, the coming, the satisfaction, the finding what you need, all of that is an integral part of what we do as part of e-commerce. We just own the transaction now, which we didn't before in a digital content environment. And with that comes everything that flows behind it. So that's the supply chain, that's the interaction with the stores, that's all those other sorts of things. But I fundamentally believe that the best e-commerce experience is truly a consumer internet experience. And the difference between Google and CNET and Amazon and Walmart over time is not that different from a consumer. So we think that we need to compete for the highest quality consumer experience. And to Stephanie's point earlier, we have to think about all of those other companies when we think about whether we're truly delivering on that. And we're working on it. We're making progress every day. We're making that customer experience better. I love the way Brian Chesky yesterday talked about the chunking the experience up into its 12 parts. We think about it in slightly different terms, but the same general concept. What we do now is just more chunks than what we did before, but the others are very similar.
Miguel.
Miguel Helf with Fortune. Neil, I'm a super happy customer of Amazon Prime. My family does 3 or 4 transactions a week, everything from knobs for the kitchen cabinets to Legos for the kid's birthday party. What would Walmart.com or Walmart do to get me as a customer?
So let's start with what Walmart is known for: access and value. So we're known for our low prices, and we're known for this experience that can surround you in a way that that your Prime experience can't. So what we deliver to customers and will be delivering to customers is what we described earlier, which is you shouldn't have to choose that that's your only path. And we realize we're not going to get every customer in the world. So if you're in their 1% camp, we're probably not going to get you as a customer. But for all those who appreciate the ability to have a best-in-class e-commerce experience, so access, get it where you want, at a good price, that sort of thing, yes, that's what we call best-in-class e-commerce. We're building that. We'll deliver on that. But if you want to interact with 4,000 points of distribution around the U.S., 65% of the U.S. population is within 5 miles of a Walmart, for example. If you want that holistic experience that says, hey, you know what, I want to shop for my groceries, or I want you to go pick them out for me, and I'll pick them up while I go do something else at the store. If you want that mobile experience that says, hey, I want access on my terms to Walmart, that's where we'll deliver a differentiated experience. So they'll be really good at what they are, and we'll be really good at what we are. And those Venn diagrams overlap for sure. And we're excited about kind of what we bring to the table to satisfy.
Local.
Maybe we'll be able to pull you over after all.
So, because I think that's really the area that we're trying to exploit is Walmart local as well as Walmart global. You can get it, you can have it shipped, it can go to your home, but you probably are shopping for groceries. You may not be, but you're probably shopping for groceries. 200 million customers are. So it's trying to blend that experience and really leverage the local assets that we have, I think is how we're going to lower cost for sure.
We've talked a lot about the existing Walmart customer, but I think to Miguel's point, can e-commerce create new customers for Walmart. There are probably people in this room, I think it'd be fair to say, who are not regular Walmart shoppers, and some who may never have been in a Walmart store before. Do you think that e-commerce is an opportunity to broaden the customer base?
Absolutely. So I think it's a myth that less affluent people don't have access to technology and that more affluent people don't want value. So these worlds are coming together, and so if we can bring Walmart to you wherever you live, maybe many of you live in New York City, we don't have any physical presence in New York City. We're probably not going to have any physical presence in New York City. So
or Washington,
or Washington D.C. Well, we'll see. We're that story has not been finally written yet. But the point is that we want to bring Walmart to you wherever you are, and so yes, absolutely. We're going after Miguel. We would like him to be a customer. I'll follow up with him afterwards and track him down if I have to. But yes, we do definitely think that e-commerce expands the addressable market for Walmart.
Karenann, I wanted to come back to big data, and then we'll probably have time for one more question. There's a lot of conversations taking place at this conference around big data. Very briefly, how does Walmart think about organizing and leveraging the incredible amount of customer data you have, and then ultimately what do you do with it? Because one would argue that you're already pretty good at predicting what you need to have in the stores, predicting what kind of inventory you need, predicting where to open the next one. You know, you guys have been doing this for a while. What is the next generation of analytics for Walmart?
So we've been in the big data business a long time. We were big data before big data was cool. And when you add new generations of technology and capability, we're focused on two things. Number one is looking at the double-digit petabytes of product data that we have, using that product data with the 120,000 suppliers that actually provide product for us to sell through our supercenters and our various formats, and collaborating with them in a much more meaningful way to put on the shelf what is necessary and what is desired by local customers. So that's one.
Double digits of petabytes sounds really big, by the way.
It is really big. And second is the customer. Being able to look across all the channels of the customer and be able to serve, whether it's .com, whether it's Sam's, whether it's Walmart US, looking at the customer across all of those areas, knowing exactly what they want to buy and frankly, when they want to buy it. We have timestamps on everything. We know what the parking lots look like in terms of traffic. So I think we're very focused on using that data with a lot of the new paradigms of technology to actually just serve better and lower costs. It's the business model.
We have one question here in the front. We've got just about a minute, so fast if you can, please.
Hi, I'm Lila Jana with Somasource, happy to be partnering with Walmart.com. So Walmart is the third largest employer in the world after the DoD and the Chinese Army. I'm wondering how you use data to improve...
The Chinese Army is her part.
I'm wondering if you can tell us how you use big data to improve or optimize the employee experience.
Yeah, so 2.2 million associates worldwide is a huge number. We're looking at analytical segmentation in order to understand what our associates want to do when they are in our stores, when they are working. We're looking at that in order to help better serve from a benefits point of view, cost of benefits. We use big data in so many ways to actually look at traditional HR functions and how we might actually know our associates better. And in the end, the reality is 2.2 million associates are also customers. Our associates also shop in our stores, so they provide a really rich sense of what works and what doesn't as we experiment in our stores.
We talk about, especially around e-commerce, we think a lot, we want the best people to come to work for us because they feel like they can do their best work here. And as you think about expanding that kind of mentality to the rest of the enterprise, data helps dramatically understand what it is that people want and need to do, and so that we can remove impediments from them so they can be better at what they do and they can be more satisfied with the work that they're doing. So there's a lot that we're doing all across the company on that.
Great. Well, it's been a fascinating conversation. I feel like we could go on for another 20 minutes talking about big data, talking about e-commerce. Those of you who are not yet Walmart customers, Neil will be finding you in the back. Thank you so much. Neil, Ashe, Karenann, Terrell. Thank you so much.